Joining me now, Ross McElroy, CEO and President at Fission Uranium. Always good to see you.
Great to see you, Mark.
So let's update the story. We know you're advancing the RRR deposit. What's really exciting right now, though, is that you're drilling now, or are you going to be drilling? You're drilling right now. First time since 2017. 7 priority targets. It's a long strike and parallel to RRR. So tell us about that.
Sure. Well, essentially, we're still focusing on the Patterson Lake corridor, and if you recall, the Patterson Lake corridor hosts 2 world-class uranium deposits within about 4 kilometers of each other. There's Fission's RRR deposit. You've got NextGen's Arrow deposit. So it's an extremely prolific conductive corridor, and there's also multiple showings along this thing. So we think that there's an opportunity to find an awful lot more high-grade mineralization along this corridor, and we have a huge chunk of the Patterson Lake corridor on our property. So yes, we have 2 exploration drill holes testing on strike of the deposit, testing parallel shear zones, areas that we already have a pretty good understanding of the geologic nature of it and why we would expect to get mineralization there. So it's fun to be back. We haven't really explored, as you said, it's been 6 or 7 years now. So, and the uranium market's a lot frothier now, and it's the right time to be looking.
Right, so considering those neighboring deposits and your deposit, and it's hard to know obviously, but do you really think you have a significant chance of a major discovery of some sort?
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
This is I guess basically virgin ground. The whole southwest side of the basin has been not only underexplored but non-explored. It was not part of the exploration cycle in the last uranium boom. If you respectively for the whole Athabasca region that's undergone, say 70 years of exploration, particularly on the east side, that's not the case on the west. That story is only now developing, but we're starting to see the frequency and occurrence of deposits and world-class deposits filling a pattern very much like you see on the eastern side of the basin. It just tells me that the discoveries to be made in our area where we're geographically located they're coming, absolutely.
And Ross, you've said that 2024 will be another milestone year for the company in that you're starting detailed engineering. You'll eventually submit the environmental impact assessment. So take us through some of those catalysts this year.
Sure. On the permitting side, you're right. The environmental impact study will be submitted, very shortly. We expect in early March. So that'll be a huge step for us. And our expectations are that the province within 6 months should be able to offer approval on the project from their perspective to be able to go forward and build. So 2024, a very, very important year on the permitting side. So expect those things coming from the province of Saskatchewan. On the federal side, the CNSC, a little bit longer, but we're well into the process, the permitting process with them as well. I think, and agreements that we have with the local communities and local First Nations, I think we'll be able to establish some pretty important milestone agreements, even in the first half of this year. So that part's, going exceptional. And on the development side, on the engineering, yes, we're finishing off our front-end engineering, and we'll be transitioning to detailed engineering, which is basically getting everything ready for construction in 2026.
Right. All right, moving along. So on the financing side, you did a bought deal, raised $75 million. I'm curious, and Red Cloud was part of that. I'm curious about your perception of the demand for Fission Uranium shares in the marketplace.
Oh, it was tremendously accepted. When we had demand that was certainly, it felt like in excess of the $75 million that we raised. The first month and a half of this year, this calendar year, was exceptional in the uranium market. Fission's share price, was trading at multi-year highs. It seemed like a really good time to pull the trigger on financing. And by the way, that money will keep us going through the entire development phase and into early stage construction. So it was the timing was right. The demand was absolutely there. I think we have a lot of new shareholders now, important shareholders and sticky shareholders on the story right now. But yeah, I mean, it feels very good.
And lastly, related to that, uranium stocks have cooled off a little bit lately, but they had tremendous run, including Fission. And so, is it your impression that investors and even larger investors are paying more attention now? Because you were among the most active on the TSX quite consistently there.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, nothing ever goes up in a straight line forever. I think it's actually healthy for these breaks to happen. But I do think the longer term aspect, as you look out through the rest of 2024, we anticipate continuing rise in the uranium prices and continued interest in equities, and a top development story such as Fission, I think will be top of everybody's list. So I think it's hard not to feel pretty excited about the sector overall, and particularly our place in it.
Right, we love following the Fission uranium story, and we'll keep doing it. We'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Ross McElroy, Fission Uranium.